everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm talking about some of my favorite indie and self-published books. So in honor of the Indie Accords readathon that is going on through the entire month of July, I thought I would mention some of my favorite self-published and indie titles. I was originally planning on having this be like a top 10 list, and I could not narrow it down to just 10 books. So I actually have 15 titles to talk about today. Some of these are actually even series because, yeah, I couldn't pick individual books, but I absolutely love self-published and indie books as well as traditionally published books, and I don't talk about them as much as I feel like I should on this channel, just because they don't seem to be as caught up in the hype as a lot of like traditionally published books, and that is my bad because I do absolutely love them. The authors obviously work super hard because most of the time authors have to do extra work with self-published books. They have to promote their own work, they have to do their own graphics, all this kind of stuff, and yeah. We're gonna jump right on in. There is a big range of books that I do like to read. However, I do feel like most of the books I have on this list of like my top favorite books probably have some sort of romance in them because I am a sucker for a good romance storyline in a book series. So the first book that I wanted to talk about is going to be Strange Love by Anne Aguirre. Anne Aguirre is also traditionally published with other books, but this series here is self-published. This is the first book of the series. The second book is called Love Code, and there will be a third book coming out, I believe, in January. This first book, though, was my absolute favorite of the series. If you like Mass Effect, I definitely suggest reading this book because it definitely felt like FemShep and Garrus vibes. I just absolutely loved that. There's also a talking dog, which is like one of my favorite parts of the book. But this is, like I said, a sci-fi romance, and basically it is The Hunger Games meets The Bachelor, because our characters here have to go through like actual trials that could hurt or kill you in order to mate and like become a couple, and it was very unique. I do also love the fact that because we are dealing with aliens, they're not actually like humanoid aliens, and so it is a male-female romance, but it's not going to be in like the typical way, and it was just something that I thought was new to me. Like, I hadn't really read any like sci-fi romance with non-humanoid type of alien stuff. I loved it so much. It was one of my top books of last year, and so yeah, I definitely had to mention it. The next book I have here is Vayne by Fisher Amelie. This is the first book in the 7 Deadly Sins series, and I absolutely love this one. I think I actually read this about 3 or 4 years ago on an airplane ride. Like, my husband and I went on our honeymoon, and I took some ebooks with me because those are the easiest ones to travel with, so I do feel like I end up reading more self-published and indie books while I'm on like vacation than I do other times of the year, because yeah, ebooks are super easy to read. But I devoured this. I think I actually cried on the plane. Like, I had tears coming down because this is just so heart-wrenching in parts. But I absolutely loved it. So this book follows our main character of Sophie Price, who is Vayne. She is not a nice person. It is all about her, and after something happens, I can't remember exactly what, she gets sent to South Africa to work at like an orphanage. And it gets very dark at some points, but my absolute favorite part of this book is like her character growth. The whole point of this book is to see her slowly not be as Vayne, but like she starts off as the most horrible person. But I absolutely loved this so much. I literally could not put it down while I was reading this. The next one I have here is the Veil Diaries series by B.L. Brunimer. This is the first book trying to live with the dead, and it is a completed 9-book series. I do want to specify I'm probably like down by 2 books. Like, I don't think I've ever read book 8 or 9, but I have given the rest of the series 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely love this series. It is a YA reverse harem paranormal romance. It starts off very slow burn, like we get them becoming friends in this first book, but basically it follows our main character of Lexi, who can see ghosts, and bad stuff happens from there, and she does make some friends with some of the boys at school, and they help her deal with her problem because of the fact that like she's never really had people believe her about this. And like I said, very, very good, very slow burn at the beginning, and we get even more paranormal aspects going on as we get further into the series. And I think this first book here was this author's very first book. So one thing I do want to specify just a little bit is the writing style and everything like that gets so much better as you go into the series. I still gave this book 5 stars because writing style doesn't necessarily make or break a book for me. It really depends on everything else, and the characters in this and the feels in this made it just like so good that I didn't care that there were some typos and things like that because it was her first book. But the rest of the series was really, really good. But like I said, I haven't read the last like 2 books because I just ended up like waiting for, I think, the 8th book to come out and wanted to reread the series, and then I haven't reread them yet, but this is now complete. I do believe there's going to be a companion series when these characters are in college as well. The next one is the most recent book that I have finished, and that is Our Bloody Pearl by D.N. Bryn. Absolutely love this. I actually read this for the Indie Accords readathon, and I'm captain of Team Romance. I went into this expecting some romance because on Goodreads, I think the 3rd tag available is romance. It's not really a romance book. Don't go in there expecting this. However, if you like dark, bloody, siren, pirate type of stuff, definitely check this out because it was much darker than I thought it was going to be, but I absolutely love this. This follows our main character of Pearl, who is a siren. They are, I don't think they actually say they're non-binary, but they do go by they, them pronouns because they just feel like gender is a construct for humans and doesn't make sense. And I absolutely loved everything about this character. I did love the fact that we get some sort of like found family vibes in this as well, and seriously gripped me. I did not want to put this book down either. I love this so much. I also love the fact that we do have lots of different identities in here. So like I said, our main character of Pearl uses they, them pronouns. We have side characters who are in a sapphic relationship. We also have characters with disabilities, and I loved the way that they talked about those disabilities. There was just so much here that like I literally loved so much. The companion novel to this book comes out at the end of July, and I've already pre-ordered it because even though it's going to follow different characters, it's going to be set in the same world, and I love the writing style and everything so much that I definitely need that next book. The next one I have here is Eat, Pray, Die by Chelsea Field. I originally gave this book like 4.5 stars when I first read it, but I keep thinking about it so much that I'm like, okay, I think it needs to be on one of my favorites lists because I really enjoyed it. This is a humorous, funny mystery type of thing. It follows our main character of Isabel, who is from Australia but is living in the States, and she is a taster, a like poison drug taster for like the rich and famous. And while she is on her first ever job for this tasting position, another taster eats something that has a drug that like they're not sure what it is and goes into a coma, and she has to help her client, who is like a private investigator, figure out exactly what happened. I just loved our main character so much. You do have to suspend a little bit of disbelief just in the fact that there is so much going on, and I know some of the drugs and stuff are based on actual technical medical like terminology and real life stuff. I don't know how much of it is, just because I got to the point where I was like, I don't care if it is or not. I was having so much fun that I could suspend my disbelief a little bit and just go along with it. I actually am planning on reading the 2nd book during the Indie Accords, so I'll let you guys know in my wrap up for the month what I thought of that one. I am expecting more romance vibes going forward because it does say like on the summaries of these books that they are going to be funny, humorous mystery with romance. So yes. The next one I have is Painting with Fire by Lissa Casey. This is a male adult romance. I read this a few years ago, so I haven't read it recently, but like I sort of want to reread it. It is part of, I think, a companion novel series, and I don't know anything about the rest of the series, but this one follows a firefighter and a person who like paints dolls for a living. It was definitely like a hurt comfort type of read. Like it gives me all the nice comfort vibes, even though there are some like bad things that they have to overcome, but it was just one of those stories that like I keep thinking about every so often, and like I need to reread it because it's a romance that slowly builds, and I just loved the like comfort-ish vibes. Like I just want to wrap up with a blanket and reread it all over again. Then I have Signs of Cupidity, which is the first book in the Heart Hassle series by Raven Kennedy. I've actually read all 3 main books plus the short novella that is like an epilogue type of book for this, and I really enjoyed these. This is a like fantasy romance adult reverse harem series. Again, I just really enjoyed this. But basically it follows a Cupid who I think used to be a human. Like, they are assigned the Cupid job after they have passed on, and they've been stuck in this job for a while, and they sort of want to branch out and do new things. And because of that, I think they go into a realm that is not their own and get stuck there. And this realm is like a fantasy realm. So they are not in our human world anymore. And so there are different types of species here in this world. And she gets basically stuck there. But it does give her like another chance at life almost. And so I just had a lot of fun with this one. It is very humorous, medium burn, but it definitely gets into those sexy scenes, especially in the later books in the series. And it was just so much fun. If you're looking for a really like wild ride, definitely check this one out. Then I have Wolfsong by TJ Klune. So this is a male-male romance. This is the first book in the Green Creek series, and I definitely need to continue with these. However, the books are very long, which is not a bad thing. It is definitely like slow burn for a lot of this first book, and I really liked the character development. I, again, cried multiple times. Some of these books definitely make you cry, and I love feeling emotions when I read, but it can get very dark in this book. But at the same time, I just absolutely loved reading from this world. The second book is going to follow characters that I'm very curious about, so like I need to just suck it up and read that next book in the series. But this first one, like I said, male romance, slow burn type of thing. Werewolves, I don't think I mentioned that, but it's, you know, Wolfsong, it's werewolves. Yeah, I loved the world building, I loved the characters, and I really need to read more. This is definitely one that has been getting a lot of buzz recently, so I'm sure a lot of people have like picked this up, but yeah, go do it. The next one I have here is the Foxhole Court by Nora Sakovic. This is the first book in the All for the Game series, which is a trilogy. I actually gave this first book 4 out of 5 stars, but the second 2 books I gave 5 out of 5 stars, and I can't talk about a favorites list without talking about the series. So even though this first book was not a full 5-star read, I definitely need to talk about the series. This is a very dark series. This book series also has a lot of like mixed opinions. You either really like the series or you really hate the series because it is very messy. These characters are not like black and white type characters. Everybody is very gray, and a lot of this world, even though we have it set sort of in our modern world, there are things that happen where you just have to suspend disbelief because a lot of it is not going to really have a basis for reality. Even though it's not a fantasy or anything like that, it is very much a contemporary type of story, but suspend your disbelief for it. I, again, really loved the character development here. This is not necessarily going to be a romance. I know some people talk about this a lot as a male-male romance, and we do have characters who end up being gay, or I think there's one that's technically more of like demisexual, demi-romantic, and we do get some of those more romance-y vibes, potentially, if we want to call it that, in the like end of the second and third book. But that is not what this is about. This is about morally gray characters, and we're dealing with people that like run the mob and like that kind of stuff as well. This one has a lot of content warnings. Almost everything that you can think about is going to be in this series. It is not something for the faint of heart. I'm pretty sure there are content warnings listed on the author's like webpage, but if you want, I will leave something linked down below for them because there are so many. But again, my emotions when I read this, especially as we get further into the later books of the series, like I've read this multiple times because I love it that much. Like I just love the world and the characters and these books. The next thing I have here is Plume by Kaylin Smith. So this is a 4-volume comic bind-up series. This originally started as a webcomic, but I absolutely love it. They have been since published by a very small comic publisher called Devils Do Comics, and basically anything by Kaylin Smith should go in here. I absolutely love her work, love her art, love her storytelling, but Plume is a fantasy western. I know it sounds very weird, but that is what we have here. It is set in like old America, 1800s, something like that, in a Western style, but we do have fantasy elements. Basically, this follows our main character of Vesper Grey, who ends up with a like medallion or a locket. I don't know exactly what it is, but there is a spirit in there named Korik who is now her like guardian protector because of the fact that she is wearing this medallion. And adventures and craziness goes from there. But like I said, 4 volumes, it is now complete. I absolutely love this comic series. And it is indie, originally self-published. So yeah, comics and graphic novels can be indie or self-published as well. And come on, Kaylin Smith's artwork is absolutely gorgeous. The next ones I have here are 2 different series. We have the Ghostbird series and the Scarab Beetle series, both by C.L. Stone. The Ghostbird series starts with this first book called Introductions. It is a very short one that basically just introduces our main character to the rest of the group. And the first one for the Scarab Beetle series is going to be Thief. These are both reverse harem romances. The first one, Ghostbird series, is going to be young adult. The second one is new adult and is actually quite steamy, but I absolutely love these. These both follow the Academy. So this is in the world of the Academy. The Academy is a very mysterious sort of entity, but they have people that come from there that sort of end up being sort of spy-like. Like, I don't know how else to describe it because they're very, very secretive, but that's sort of what we have, and I just absolutely love it. Again, this is another one of those series that is set sort of in our modern day world. It is contemporary. Suspend your disbelief a little bit because I'm doubting a lot of this kind of stuff actually happens in real life, but I mean, that's what stories are for, right? And I just absolutely love these ones. So they both follow 2 different girls. One is a teenager in high school and one of them is, I believe, early 20s. I could be mistaken exactly how old they are, but they both get swept up into Academy business, and there are again lots of content warnings and stuff, especially in the Ghostbird series. We have some like parental abuse and that kind of stuff. So be aware of that. But again, I absolutely love these. This is another series, 2 series, where books are still coming out in these series, but I do believe I am 1 book behind here and I think 2 books behind here. The next one I want to talk about is going to be Groupie, which is the first book in the Rock Hard Beautiful series by C.M. Stunich. This is an adult reverse harem series. This is probably one of the sexiest books I have ever read, and I'm not somebody that is usually like the biggest fan of like first chapter or so sex scenes, but there is something going on with our main character that lends itself very, very well to the content in this book. And I love the characters in this one so much. I think that is going to be a theme that you guys have probably seen. If a book has really, really good characters that I just wanted to like either relate to or like give them a hug, I absolutely love it. But so this is another, like I said, reverse harem series. It is contemporary and it is going to be about a band. So rock stars, and they end up taking this woman under their wing. And yeah, it's their love story and I really, really enjoyed it. The next one I have is Charcoal Tears by Jane Washington. This is the first book in the Seraph Black series. This is a 4-book series that, again, I don't think I've ever read the last book, even though I gave the first 3 5 out of 5 stars. All across the board. I'm very bad about that, but I absolutely loved the books that I did read in this series, and this is another reverse harem romance. And this is going to be more of a like paranormal romance type of series. There are some fantasy magic-y elements. I don't remember a lot because these ones I actually read like quite a few years ago, like I think in like 2016. But again, I absolutely loved the character development. I loved the paranormal fantasy type of aspect, and again, these do get quite dark, especially near the end of the series. And yeah, this is one that I definitely probably need to reread the first books so I can finish the series, but I just remember absolutely loving them even if I don't remember all of the details. The next one I have here is going to be Hex 11 by Lisa K. Weber and Kelly Sue Milano. So this is another self-published comic book series that I absolutely love. This one is a mix of fantasy and sci-fi. Basically, we have a world where technology exists and magic exists, and technology is actually what gives people their magic. I just love the fact that we have both things coming together, and yes, this is so much fun. The first book starts off with a demon inhabiting somebody's body and a witch who is not very good at using her powers, and people are trying to control society with this magic and stuff, and everything just like comes to a head. I absolutely love this. These are the first 2 volumes. They are still writing issues actually for volume 3. So I think we're maybe about halfway or 3/4 of the way through volume 3 in issues. And then eventually we will have a volume 3, and I definitely will need to get it because I love this world. I love the art style as well. Ugh, just so, so good. And so yes, definitely go pick this up. And then finally, the last thing I wanted to talk about is going to be Wait For It by Mariana Zapata. I absolutely love all the books that I've read by Mariana Zapata. However, this one is my absolute favorite. It could be dethroned someday because I have not caught up on all of her work, but I absolutely love them. She is another one that I feel is quite famous, even though she is self-published, like exclusively, but she is the queen of slow burn romances, and I absolutely loved every single thing that I've read from her so far. Most of her books involve some sort of sports, and this one is no exception. This does have baseball as an aside, but this does follow our main character of Diana, who is like a newly single guardian of 2 kids, and she's trying to figure out how to go on in this sort of life. She had never planned on being a guardian to these 2 kids, and it's her and I think her neighbor's like love story, and I just really love this one. Again, Mariana Zapata, queen of slow burn romance, so it is going to be very slow to build up, but I am a sucker for that, and so I am here for all of it. And those are all 15 books/series that I have rated like 5 stars. Absolutely love them, that are all indie or self-published. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I do have videos up Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye!